This video is for black men, especially black men that voted for President Donald Trump to be reelected to be President of the United States. You are now on the demonic hit list. There will be difficult days ahead, so be prepared because now you are marked. See, many think because of the fact that Joe Biden might be president, that they have the victory and that it's all over with. There's people that actually believe that the election is all over with, but it's just beginning. We are in a spiritual warfare, and the battle is fought, but in time the victory will be won. I saw some posts on Facebook where black females were posting that 18% of black men voted for Trump. And as I read the comments, I saw all type of derogatory statements directed towards black men. Janelle Monáe, she's on Twitter. She even had something to say about black men. She posted a photo of herself standing in the mirror, sticking up her middle finger. And she said, F Donald Trump and every American citizen, celebrity, white woman, black man, etc., who supported him. And then she wrote, burn. Now this is coming from a sodomite. Now I responded to her and I said to her, you left out the white man and the black female. And then she posted something else that said, white men, etc. But again, she never mentioned black women. This is coming from Janelle Monáe. So then I responded again, and I said something to the effect of being a sodomite, look forward to burn or something like that. But what she did was she reported my post and removed hers. But thank y'all for screenshot, because I screenshotted her tweet on Twitter. But it's interesting that she reported mine for hate, because I referred to her as a sodomite and said that she was going to burn, but yet she felt no kind of way when she said that black men who supported Trump should burn. Now I'm going to let you listen to what Maxine Waters had to say, because she denounced black men voting for Trump. And she said, I will never, ever forgive them. It is shameful. Now keep in mind, she's targeting black men, not black women that supported Trump, not Latinos that supported Trump, not Asians that supported Trump, not black women that supported Trump. Black men. I'm going to play the whole 8 minutes and 5 seconds of the conversation and listen how they speak down on black men like we just don't understand. Now keep in mind, this is the same party that's the party of slavery and the KKK. Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton referred to black men as super predators. But my question is, what about Black Lives Matter that you support? What about Antifa that you support? Now, I do agree that there are super predators that live in our communities. and they need to be done away with. But that 1994 crime bill targeted innocent black men, locked them up for minor crimes, and gave them time that locked them away for a while, and they capitalized off of that. But then Maxine Waters questions, why would black men do that? She don't know why black men would do that. Well, you've taken black men out of the home with welfare. Welfare was weaponized because in order for women to receive public assistance, they had to take the man out of the home. But notice, white women receive welfare, and they didn't have to put their white men out of the home. Their white men still grew up with their children. Those children still had their fathers in the home. But in the black community, the man could not be in the home. But listen to Maxine Waters. This is what y'all voted for. And the battle is just beginning. Difficult days are ahead, especially for black men, because they're making it quite clear that we are on their radar. Listen.
I don't even know where any blacks would be coming from that would be voting for Trump. It just hurts me so bad to see blacks talking about supporting Trump. I don't know why they would be doing it. I don't know what's on their minds. But if we don't turn out this vote and turn it out huge, this man could end up winning again. And this country would go backwards. The divisiveness that this deplorable human being has caused, the confrontations, the dog whistling to the right wing, the white supremacists, the KKK, and they're coming alive. They're emboldened because they've got a leader who wants them to do it. What did he say to the Proud Boys? Stand back and stand ready. Ready for what? Confrontation. Give me a break, Joe.
Now let me cut that for a moment. Trump did not say that. He did not say it in the context in which she's speaking of. See, this is why you have to research. You have to pay attention to what's going on, because if you don't research or pay attention, the fake news media can tell you anything and you believe it.
Thank you. I know you're on it, doing everything that you can. We got to shout it from the rooftops. That
we spent most of the morning here because this story came out that, you know, as Florida goes, it might make it a short night, but black men could very well carry Florida and particularly other states, but in particular Florida. But these young black men, for the most part, they somehow it's being communicated to them that they either need to support Trump or they need not vote. And I just need you, one who, look, you know, you know how the system works. You know how this game is played. To just talk to these young brothers for a minute or so.
Well, let me just say this. You're absolutely right about many of these young men, these young black men, not really understanding how the systems work and what we have done to improve the systems. If I was not on financial services, and Nydia Velázquez was not on financial services, the big restaurants and hotels would have gotten away with getting all of this PPP money. Because we're there, we were able to, number one, spot it and to come up with the supplement that was needed in order to get that money out into our community, to many of our small banks. And we still need to do more with that. If we were not there, we would not be able to even talk about rental assistance and assistance to homeowners who have these exotic loans and predatory loans that they should have had in the first place, and ways by we are getting forbearance for them so that they won't lose their homes and they will be able to get loan modifications after years forbearance. They don't understand any of this, and they don't want to understand it. They think somehow if they are going to support Trump, that they're going to realize some big sums of money that's going to come to them through some damn proposals that they're going to present, and they're going to be taken care of, and they're going to be able to manage all of this money. They are crazy. They're not going to get a dime from these people. They don't even know how to put together the right kind of proposals to even be considered in this way that government works.
You hear how she's talking about black people? Don't even know how to put together a proposal. We are so dumb and lifeless that we need them. We need those black females that's in politics. We need the Democrats in order to survive. We need them to think for us. We can't think for ourselves. Listen to what she's saying to black men. And y'all voted for her. Especially black dudes.
How you have to get through the House and the Senate and all of these committees, even in order to get to the president to sign something, and he's not going to sign a darn thing to them. He's a racist. He does not have any appreciation for black people and black women in particular. He's talked about us so bad. He talked about John Lewis so bad. He talked about Cummings so bad. He has no respect for us. He's not doing anything for us.
Now, this is coming from a female that's been in politics how long? And what has she done for her own district? Look at the district of Maxine Waters. Look at the black community that's in the district of Maxine Waters. Look where they live and look where she lives. Look how they live and look how she lives. So what has a Democrat Party done for black people in all of these years before Trump?
And for those black young men who think somehow they can align themselves with Trump, not only are they terribly mistaken, any of them showing their face, I will never ever forgive them for undermining the possibility to help their own people and their own communities. It is absolutely unconscionable. It is shameful. But if they would spend some time with us, we would help them to know what we're struggling for and how they would be able to help us in this struggle. They don't send anything to, any of the social media about helping us in what we're doing. I mean, I guess it's all right to talk about, how many cars you got. It's all right to talk about women, etc. on all of these platforms.
Now look at the stereotypical image she's building on black men. Women, jewelry, cars, all of this materialistic possession. Things that we see rappers flashing on television, on these videos. Many of the same rappers that voted Democrat. But listen how she thinks of black men.
But when are you going to join with us to talk about how we save all of our black banks? When are you going to join with us to talk about we've got to stamp?
Okay, now that's interesting. That's Maxine Waters. Now I'm going to let you listen to Joe Biden. And many of you guys have heard this already before, where he warns of the super predators on our streets. And to an extent, he's correct. Beverly Beatty, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, she was in D.C. recently and she was stabbed by some super predators. Young people, according to her, that came out looking for trouble. There are many young black youth that's like that. So, in a way, I hear where Joe Biden is coming from. But again, many innocent kids got in the way. And listen to how he talk about they and them and those people.
It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents, it doesn't matter whether or not they were...
Pay attention to the dog whistling, because he's not referring to black people when he say your son and your daughters, my daughters, your daughters, whatever it was he said. Listen to what he says.
Back to the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask, what made them do this? They must take it off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said, rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, we must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath.
It's interesting he say that, because when he say he don't care why or how they became that way, he's saying that it doesn't matter that we created this monster that he referred to as super predator. They created this monster. They took the father out of the home, or they made it possible for the father not to be in the home. So now he's saying it's a problem to them and to their communities. So now they have to get these same super predators off the street that they created. They created that monster. And listen how he's talking about them. How he's speaking down to them.
We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist. And we must deal with that.
Now, this is the same Joe Biden that you guys see that looks like he's on the brink of death. And you guys feel sorry for him because he's old and he's been in the position for like 47 years and he did nothing for you. But a lot of people said, well, that was in the past. He said he was sorry. He didn't mean it. And you honestly think that he's going to do something for you now. Listen to Hillary Clinton, because he made that speech back in 93. This is Hillary Clinton in 1996, after the crime bill was put in place in 1994.
Often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort.
Did that sound familiar to you? Isn't that what Joe Biden just said? Those are his words. That was his speech. So she's echoing his speech.
Against gangs everywhere. In addition to that, he has appointed a new drug czar. You probably saw him Tuesday night. He's one of the most distinguished active military generals that we have in our country. He's already proven that he knows how to interdict drugs because of his command of the South American activity on behalf of the United States. But General McCaffrey will make a big difference, and I believe it is now time for all of us to know what we can do individually to be part of this anti-crime, anti-gangs, anti-drug effort. The fifth challenge is to protect the environment.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Hillary Clinton. So there's going to be difficult days ahead for black men. You've now become the enemy of the enemy. You're on the enemy's hit list. You are the enemy's threat. So there's no time for you to sit down now and become slack. Because whether you stand up and fight for your rights and for your family, we have to fight to take our families back. What's sad is that there are not too many grandparents that love their grandchildren, that support their children taking care of their grandchildren. Everybody's gone their own way. The black family technically don't exist anymore. And when it comes to the motherly love, the love that mothers should have for their children is almost obsolete in the black community. Black females don't love their kids. Now, this video might not remain on YouTube, but you can always find this on my WordPress page, and the link is on the bottom. So make sure when you listen to this video, if you listen to it in its entirety, go to my WordPress page and follow me there or subscribe there so that you can get these videos even when YouTube removed them off of its platform. But mothers don't love their children like they used to. Black mothers don't, because now they're fighting to have the right to murder their own child in their own womb. They want to destroy the child in their womb. Many black females have already destroyed their womb. They've already had their tubes tied. They did everything possible to keep from bringing children into the world. One of the greatest gifts that God gave women. And they're rejecting that. So now they want the right to murder their own children. Look how hard they're going against Trump. And the Supreme Court judge, Amy, that was just recently appointed. They fear that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned. They fear not having the right to murder their own child. I just posted an article on my WordPress page. And go there and check it out. Where this black female, I believe it was in Chicago, beat her 3-year-old to death with a tire iron. a tire iron. Now, a lot of you young people may not know what a tire iron is. But she beat him to death with a tire iron. Where is the mother's love? And I will be doing a video about that, questioning where is the mother's love. It's almost obsolete. We still see it among other races of people. And we still see it even among some black women. But is that fading away quickly? So black men, be on the lookout, be aware. You're now a target. You've always been a target. But now you're a target just for exercising your rights to vote. They're telling you that you have no rights to vote. You can't think for yourself. You have to go according to that gang mentality. You have the responsibility of remaining Democrat. So y'all think this is over. And a lot of y'all that's rejoicing on social media because you think Joe Biden is going to become president, you have no idea what's down the road. And you guys are so asleep that they told you what they're going to do and you didn't hear it. You didn't hear what he was telling you. The only thing you heard was, we want Trump out the White House. Everything else became like the school teacher on the Charlie Brown. Want, 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 want. Trump, want, 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 want. We need to get Trump out the White House. Want, 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 want. Orange man. Want, 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 want. Everything else you don't hear. Because you've been brainwashed. Your mind has been taken over. You no longer have control of yourself. Your mind has been infiltrated. That's the word I was trying to look earlier. Infiltrated. Your mind was infiltrated by those that claim to love you and support you. The same ones that were promising you free stuff. And I've said before that I've always been told coming up that there's nothing free in life. I learned that from a very young age. There is nothing free in life. Nothing is free in life. Even when it comes to salvation, salvation is not free. The Bible says, present your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Then it says, be not conformed to the things of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, to prove what is good and acceptable will or perfect will of God. So even when it comes to salvation or righteousness, it's not free, because you have to give up something. You have to present yourself a living sacrifice, holy unto God, and not be conformed to the things of the world. And what we see happening now is many churches, especially in the black community, is conforming to the world. Just listen to the music. The secular world should be following the church, but the church is following the secular world. You have church musicians playing secular music in the church, and people are up dancing and shouting to it. Because they kind of change it and manipulate it a little bit to sound like church music. When you march around paying your tithe and your offering, they have secular music playing in the church. Conform to the world. So I can see why it's so easy for churches to be infiltrated. Why it's so easy for politicians to come inside the church and get to the sheep. of that church. Sheeps are followers. So when that pastor opens the door and allow those politicians, those crooked politicians to come in, stand in the pulpit and talk to his people, manipulate your mind because he and the pastor made a deal, maybe over some land. So the pastor allowed him to come in and talk to his people if that politician promised to do something for him. So churches now have fallen prey to the Democrat Party, the Democrat Party. And they went hard voting for the Democrats, denouncing Trump and attacking Trump supporters. These are supposed to be righteous men. And that's where the Bible comes in and says, none is righteous, no, not one. Yeshua Christ said that. None is righteous, no, not one. None of these pastors out there are righteous. And I guess if you really look at it, maybe this was a good thing. Maybe this whole election process was a good thing. This whole Trump thing was a good thing because it separated the sheep from the wolves. Because as a result of this, we now see a lot of wolves been manifested. A lot of wolves came out of the church and into the streets, shouting Black Lives Matter and Antifa. So a lot of wolves that we thought were sheep, they're wolves. And they're destroying and terrorizing your neighborhoods. Why? Because they don't want you to exercise your rights and your freedom to vote for Trump. You have to stay a part of the Democrat plantation. I made a video a long time ago, and it's too bad I deleted that channel. But it talked about the sleeping terror cells right here in the United States. Or better yet, the United Snakes. Sleeping terror cells. Those wolves in sheep clothing. Those black power people, those so-called black conscious people. Look at the number of black celebrities that came out for Biden. And he's got nothing to offer. He and Kamala Harris got nothing to offer. Nancy Pelosi will be pulling the strings. And you guys voted for her. And now that the election is over, you guys are now turned to black men. No one else. That goes to show us, brothers, that we are powerful. We have a hidden power that we're not even aware of. Just think of how we walk, better yet, how we used to walk. We had this walk about us that when we walk, people get out the way. Because even our presence demonstrated strength. If a so-called black man knew himself, just his presence alone stirs up fear. To the point they would call police on you for doing nothing, just your presence. That's how powerful we are. But because we were blinded to our power, we've now been placed under their feet. And now that we begin to start rising up, making choices for ourselves, they want to push us back down, and they're using our so-called women to do it. Black females are doing it, putting their foot on the necks of black men. That's why they're making these black females judges and putting them in political positions. And the only way black men could really rise to the top is if he becomes a sodomite. One sodomite had just came to Congress. He's out of New York City. And it's sad that the only time a black man could really rise is if he's on his knees, or if he's bent over, or if he's singing his way or entertaining his way to the top. And even then, he's got to be sacrificed, or a family member of his is sacrificed. But maybe I'll make a video touching on that later on. But if this video does not last on YouTube, it will be on Spreaker. So I encourage you to go to Spreaker. Just sign up. It's free. As a matter of fact, many of you guys can make videos for free on Spreaker. I happen to pay for mine because I need more time, and I really don't like the advertisement or their watermark. But go to Spreaker, sign up for free. Spreaker is free, and there's a lot of YouTubers there's a lot of people that used to be on YouTube that's now on Spreaker, and there's a lot of YouTubers that's on Spreaker that make their videos and upload them to YouTube from Spreaker. You could do the same thing, but go to Spreaker, sign up, and follow me there or subscribe there. Click on the Cash App and support this channel. See, black men, we have to start supporting each other. As long as we're out there divided, as long as we're out there killing each other, we're their friends. They're friends with us. But they're really not friends. They're frenemies. Because as long as you're destroying yourself, there's silence. The minute you start trying to stand on your own and exert your God-given authority, they send out dog whistles to push you down. So now there's a dog whistle being sent out against black men. No one else. They're not concerned with all the black women that supported Trump. They're targeting black men. And they're saying 18% of black men, and you have black females on Facebook saying that number has to be wrong. There can't be that many black men supporting Trump. In other words, you have to stay under their feet. You can't think for yourself. So click on the Cash App, support the channel. Until next time, I'm fearless.